All right, so I had been questioned about why people who are narcissistic, why do they give you nicknames, right? Why a lot of them, and this may not pertain to all of you, but why with some of you who have dealt with narcissists, why did that narcissist purposely give you a nickname? They didn't want to call you by your birthright given name. They wanted to call you a little nickname that they came up with. And see, it seems like innocent, and it seems like, they just want to make you theirs, which is it's true, but behind it is so that they can not identify you with who you feel and think and believe that you are. So they're giving you an alternate name that you'll get used to responding to, used to answering to. And that name they will use to input or place an identity on that name of what they have drew up in their minds for you to be. They'll give you a little nickname, and it helps them to separate you as the person, the human being that is attached with the character and the personality and the morals, principles of the name that you were given, right? It's trust me, it gets deeper than this. But to simplify it, that energy, that everything that's attached to your name that you usually respond to is not going to be used by the narcissist. Instead, they're going to use an alternative nickname to call you, to start placing and labeling you with, and treating you in a way that's totally different than what you get treated with your birthright name. Now, this helps, create two different hemispheres within your psyche of, responding and acting in ways to one name that's called versus another name. So outside of the narcissist, your friends, family, associates and stuff call you by one name, right? Well, the narcissists, when they're, engaging and acting and doing stuff with you, are going to use another name and treat you differently with that name. On the psychological level, it helps you bind you, at least character-wise and personality-wise, to that name when you're called and when you're interacting with that narcissist and they're using that name. If you ever notice when the narcissists, write you texts, or they like to mention your name a lot, or the name that they made up to give you a lot, right? It's like speaking a spell. They say like words can be used as spells, but that name over time also helps them to not see you as a human. It helps them to see you as just this character. You're just a character that they created up, and they happen to name it whatever name that they gave you as a nickname. And so this is why many of you, when you feel and think like, how could they do this? And, they're not even seeing you for who you are. Of course, they're not even calling you by the name that you were given. But you, at the end of the day, went along with the name. You entertain the nickname that the narcissist gives you. It seems cute and harmless, but it's lining you up for something more sinister. Where the narcissist is using that name to attach your personality. So your personality will start registering and responding and behaving in the way that they're you know, putting this character out and placing the identity and the features and whatnot into this character associated with that name. After a while, you begin to, when you hear that name, you begin to act and behave in the way of that name. All right, so they don't like to call you what everyone else is calling you. It doesn't give them a certain level of priority over you. It doesn't give them that individualized, like if no one else is calling you that name, it separates them. It puts them in an exclusivity and like an exclusive priority based area in your mind. Because only they're the only ones that call you that. So it has more of a significant value, even when you detach from them. Right? Even when you detach from them, and they use that name or whatnot. Or if you think about the name that the narcissist used to call you, it still has some sort of kind of like, has this like weird thing that kind of throws you into that state of what you were in at one point. It's kind of like almost like hypnosis, right? That name has certain properties attached to it that they were using with you at the time to mold your character to the name. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of time to go into this. I just wanted to kind of scratch the surface of it because I know many of you had to have witnessed this or went through this with the narcissist, where that they give you these different names. They call you these names and they refuse. The whole time you're with them, they refuse to call you. And on certain instances, they'll use your name. But for the most part, they want to use that name that they nicknamed you. Yeah. It makes you uniquely theirs. And you'll begin to respond over time as solely theirs too as well. It's kind of like binding you to them. Narcissists are, as you know, they're well versed in manipulation and stuff like that. People oftentimes overlook these things because while you're in it, you're just thinking, oh, they just want to, give you a cute little nickname. But yeah, oftentimes a lot of it's due to grooming and conditioning the mind to be separate from who you really are. So under that name, you go into character because they're going to treat you a certain way under that name in regards to that name that's used. All right, your name is powerful. Right? Your name holds the properties of your identity and so forth and so on. All right? And so they're able to, use these things to their advantage and call you by the name that they created for you. Unbeknownst to you, you slowly it doesn't happen overnight, but when many of you are feeling like you lost yourself and you don't know who you've become, while being with them, it's because the identity has been snatched away from you right underneath your nose. And you didn't realize how it was being done. And that's pretty much the way it worked out and the way it happened. Anyway, like I said, I just wanted to touch up on the surface of that. Someone had a question about it. So I just wanted to pass that on. But just beware when they're calling you these names and refuse to address you by your name. Some of these narcissists are real adamant about not calling you by any name that anyone else would identify you with, because that would register, it would link you to the treatment and everything else that, how people treat you under your name and respect you under that name and value you under that name, right? It'll instantly trigger that to your conscience to make you step back and say, hey, no, what the hell? You'd be like, no, I'm such and such. You're going to stand on your identity. But when they give you another name and begin to implement and impute another identity onto you, it's a clean slate that you may overlook. And because it's not necessarily you, it's just a nickname. But there's power in that underneath a lot of the things that you may not see. Anyway, that's all I have to say for that. Like, share, subscribe. Till next time, have a good one.